Hi dear students, hope that all of you had gone through the video which introduced the poem Daffodils written by William Wordsworth. In today's class we will discuss the poem in detail, so take poem Daffodils written by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. I wandered lonely as a cloud. Here the poet says that he wandered lonely as a cloud. So the poet, he was wandering, moving around lonely. So the mood of the poet, it is lonely, and he was moving around in the mood of loneliness. And how he was moving? As a cloud. And here you can find the use of literary device simile. Here poet compares, or he just finds the similarity between cloud and himself. And what is the meaning of simile? Simile, it expresses the similarities between two things. So here in a way the poet says that there are similarities existing between him and cloud, because both are wandering. He says that he is just wandering like a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. The clouds which floats on high over vales means the valleys and hills. And you know, you might have seen the clouds that usually floats over hills and valleys. And he says that he also just wandering just like a cloud which floated over the valleys and hills. And then what happened next? When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. He was just wandering in a lonely mood, then all over a sudden he saw something. When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. What he saw there? He saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Here you can find out the use of personification, the literary device personification. What is the meaning of personification? Attributing human qualities to non-living thing. So here in a way the poet calls daffodils as crowd, and he compares daffodils with a human being, and he calls daffodils, the group of daffodils, as crowd, and that is a quality attributed to human being. But here the poet attributing the quality crowd to daffodils, and he calls the daffodils, the group of daffodils, as crowd. And a host. Who is a host? Host means who receives the guest. So the daffodils he calls as guest, who receives the guest, and of golden daffodils. So here he all over a sudden, he was just wandering in a lonely mood, then he all over a sudden he found beautiful daffodils, and he calls these daffodils are just like crowd and host. And the use of personification we can notice here. Then he continues, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. And where he found these daffodils? Beside the lake and beneath the tree. Just beside the river or the lake, and beneath, under the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. What these daffodils were doing there? They were fluttering and dancing. Fluttering means moving lightly and quickly, and dancing. So these daffodils, they were beside the lake and beneath the trees or under the trees, and they were dancing and moving lightly. So here again we can find out the use of personification. Dancing, that is a quality of human being, and the quality of dance or dancing, that is attributed to an inanimate thing, that is daffodils. So the personification we can find here. So in this stanza we will find that the poet, he was just wandering lonely, just like a cloud which floated over the valleys and hills. Then all over a sudden he noticed a group of daffodils, and he calls the daffodils as crowd and host of golden daffodils. So the use of personification, he attributes the quality of crowd and host to inanimate thing daffodils. Then he continues where he found these beautiful daffodils. He found the daffodils beside the lake and beneath the trees, just beside the river and the lake and under the trees. And what these daffodils were doing there, these daffodils were just moving lightly and quickly and dancing. So again the use of personification, attributing the human quality, dancing, to an inanimate thing, that is daffodils. So use of personification. So here in this stanza we can find the use of two different poetic devices. The first one simile and the second one, that is personification. Now the second stanza. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. The daffodils were continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. And here again we can find out that the use of simile here. The poet says that the daffodils, they were continuous as stars. They were numerous and they were as numerous as stars. The daffodils were as numerous as stars which are shining and twinkle on the Milky Way. The stars, they twinkle and shine on the Milky Way, and just like the stars, these daffodils, they are continuous or numerous in number, and they stretched in never-ending line. In an endless line they stretched. The daffodils, they stretched in a never-ending lines or uncountable. The daffodils are uncountable just like stars, and it is not possible for us to count the stars, and it is numerous. And the poet says that these daffodils also are numerous, and they are numerous as stars which are on the Milky Way, and these daffodils, they are stretched in a never-ending line. That indicates that they are numerous, uncountable. And he says then along the margin of a bay. Margin of a bay means the bank of the river or the lake. So he says that these daffodils, they are just as numerous as stars which are on the Milky Way, and here these daffodils, they are stretched in a never-ending line where along the margin of the bay or along the bank of the bay or the river. Then he continues, 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. 10,000 saw I at a glance. At one look itself, he says that he saw 10,000 daffodils. And here we can find the use of literary device hyperbole. What is the use of hyperbole? It exaggerates. It speaks high about the things. It exaggerates the things. So here the poet says that once he looked, he found that 10,000 daffodils at a glance. So the use of hyperbole. And one more poetic device is used there. The use of inversion. What is the meaning of inversion? Inversion, it is the use of words in reverse order. If you take the line 10,000 saw I at a glance. So actually the correct order of that sentence it is I saw 10,000 at a glance. But here the poet uses in a reverse order. The words are used in a reverse order. So that is known as inversion. And the poet says that he saw 10,000, the numerous daffodils. At one side itself he saw 10,000 daffodils. And what these daffodils were doing, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Tossing means moving side to side, their heads in sprightly dance. Sprightly means lively or spirited. So these daffodils, they were moving side to side and they were dancing, they were performing a lively dance, more spirited dance. And in the last line you will find the use of the literary device personification, because dancing and tossing both are the qualities of human being, and those qualities are here attributed to daffodils. So the use of personification we can find here. Here so far we have discussed two stanzas, and there we had found that there are use of personification. 3 times the use of personification we can find here. So here why poet uses personification? It is because he wants to highlight the unity between human being and nature. So that is why he uses the literary device personification. He wants to highlight the unity between human being and nature. So here in this stanza, in the second stanza, we had seen that the daffodils, they are just like the stars which are on the Milky Way, and these daffodils, they are just like stars. They are numerous in number and they are stretched along the bank of a river. And then he says that at one side itself, at a glance itself, he found 10,000 daffodils and they were just dancing and tossing their head. And the use of simile, hyperbole, inversion and personification we can find in this stanza. Hope that both the stanzas are clear to you. Go through the poem, and if there is any doubt, contact me. Thank you. Have a nice day.